When it comes to jaw-dropping NBA plays, nothing makes defenders question their life choices like a good old ankle-breaking crossover. These are the ankle-breaking moments in NBA history. Starting at number 15 is Luka Doncic's unforgettable crossover. When the Dallas Mavericks went toe-to-toe with the Brooklyn Nets during the 2022-23 season, Luka Doncic pulled off a move destined for the highlight reels. In the fourth quarter, with tensions high enough to make a rubber band snap, Doncic unleashes a crossover that would make even a seasoned salsa dancer jealous. And who's the unfortunate victim? Ben Simmons. Doncic's crossover is so wicked, so jaw-dropping, that it sends Simmons tumbling to the floor like a pile of mismatched puzzle pieces. Crossovers aren't something new. They've been a demolition tool for ages. 18 years ago, Allen Iverson unleashed what we can only describe as the holy grail of ankle breakers. And guess who was on the receiving end? The one and only Michael Jordan himself. Now, when you think of MJ, it's usually as the guy doing the legendary stuff, not being on the wrong side of history. But on that fateful day, March 12th, 1996, the basketball universe did a collective double take. You could say he turned Jordan into the ultimate crossover poster child, if only for that one moment. This next crossover wasn't your run-of-the-mill crossover. It was like a basketball ballet of ankle-breaking proportions. Kyrie Irving decided to put on a dribbling clinic, and poor Knight found himself at the center of it. It was like watching a magician pull a rabbit out of a hat, except in this case, the rabbit was Knight's pride. Now, what makes this showdown even juicier is that it wasn't just a random clash on the court. No, this was a battle that had been brewing since their high school days. Knight and Irving had been duking it out for the title of the #1 point guard in their high school class of 2010. After that display, there was no need for a scorecard. It was clear as day who had won that point guard battle. Allen Iverson was like a crossover sorcerer, and his double crossover on Antonio Daniels was the stuff of legends. 2 crossovers on poor Antonio Daniels in a single play. That's insane. It's like he was playing a real-life game of Twister with Daniels' ankles. This move of Iverson instantly earned its spot in the Hall of Fame of crossovers. It's the kind of highlight that's going to be shown in Iverson montages for all of eternity. They should probably put it in the basketball history textbooks too, just to remind future generations that there was a time when Iverson was out here breaking ankles for fun. Someone else who loves breaking ankles for fun is Stephen Curry. A few years down the road, when you're knee-deep in Stephen Curry's MVP highlight reel, there's one play that's going to pop up more than a stubborn jack-in-the-box. It's the kind of move that's going to have its own dedicated section, like the greatest hits album of crossovers. What really makes this move the pièce de résistance is the timing. You see, back in those days, the MVP race was hotter than a jalapeno on a summer day, with Curry and James Harden duking it out like 2 heavyweight boxers. And right when it seemed like it could go either way, Curry unleashed this crossover that probably made MVP voters do a collective, "Whoa, did you see that?" At number 10, we have Nate Robb's insane crossover move. This guy's not just a basketball player. He's a showman. Robb is the ankle breaker extraordinaire who's been quietly collecting victims throughout his career. See this for yourself. Poor Reggie. He ended up doing an impromptu ballet move right there on the court. I bet he's still having nightmares about that crossover. Seriously, Nate Robb deserves a highlight reel just for his crossover conquests. He's like David taking on the Goliaths of the NBA. Jamal Crawford and Lance Stevenson are 2 guys who could probably handle a basketball blindfolded and still look smoother than butter on a hot pan. We're talking about crossovers that can make defenders question their life choices. So, what happens when these 2 players come up against each other? One of them left the exchange embarrassed, and it was Stevenson in this case. Now, we've seen Stevenson put defenders in a blender more times than we can count, but on this particular day, he was the one who got caught in the spin cycle. It's like he took a wrong turn in a maze of dribbles and ended up in no man's land. One guy who specializes in putting players in a no man's land is Darren Williams. Back when old D-Will was running the show for the Utah Jazz, he was like the point guard maestro, conducting the basketball symphony with finesse. I mean, at his peak, he was giving the best point guards in the league a run for their money, like he had a secret sauce for crossovers. Now, let's talk about that crossover of his against Kirk Heinrich. It was wicked, in the most wickedly awesome sense of the word. We miss that old D-Will magic on the court. Derrick Rose's ankle breaker against Andre Miller was so cringeworthy that you'd watch it and immediately feel like you needed to book a chiropractor appointment for your own ankles. It's one of those moments where you can't help but say, ouch, out loud, even though you're not the one on the court. You know, as the sands of time trickle away, there are those moments in basketball that just keep getting better with age, like a fine wine or a classic movie. And this Andre Iguodala crossover is definitely on the list of those memories that'll make you smile a little wider each time you think of it. Iggy went all out on Quincy Miller. It's like he's playing a lullaby with his dribble, gently rocking the defender to sleep before delivering the knockout blow. And when I say knockout, I mean it in a metaphorical sense, of course. We're still talking basketball here, not a UFC match. During a game of the 2012-13 NBA season between the Golden State Warriors and the Orlando Magic, Ish Smith pulled off a remarkable feat by jumping over John Wall and blocking his shot. However, as the game unfolded, he would come to regret that decision. You know how they say revenge is best served cold? Well, Wall clearly took that saying to heart because he decided to give Smith a taste of his own medicine, and he did it with some Pete's ass. Wall might have lost the battle earlier, but he won the war of crossovers in style. And that, my friends, is basketball entertainment at its finest. During one of the Wizards' clashes with the Nets, Daniel Gafford found himself in a one-on-one showdown with Kevin Durant. Right from the get-go, you could practically smell the drama of an ankle-breaking moment in the air. But nobody, I repeat, nobody could have predicted what was about to unfold. I'm pretty sure that after this encounter, Gafford considered a career change because he became a laughingstock on the internet. It's as if his ankles decided to take an unannounced vacation. So, without a doubt, Gafford's ankles are now officially owned by the one and only Kevin Durant. The next three crossovers will make you jump up your seats in amazement. At number 3, we have Crawford crossover. Jamal Crawford, the man with handles so smooth they could make butter jealous. We all know he's got some of the best tricks up his basketball sleeves, if not the very best. But his crossover over Wesley Matthews is one that went down in NBA history as one of the quirkiest. Matthews was so bewildered that he thought Crawford had performed some kind of Jedi push-off move. I mean, come on, it's like he was trying to call foul on a magical illusion. Poor Matthews. Game 1 of the 2001 NBA Finals was a showdown for the ages. The 76ers, facing the mighty Shaq and Kobe Lakers, were basically seen as the underdog equivalent of a squirrel, taking on a grizzly bear. But then, like a basketball magician, Allen Iverson, known as The Answer, stepped onto the court and decided he was about to rewrite the script. During overtime, Iverson found himself locked in a one-on-one duel with poor Tyronn Lue out on the wing. And this is where things get legendary. Iverson, in a move that will forever live in basketball folklore, famously stepped over Lue, who was still sprawled out on the floor. In that moment, Iverson became an icon, as if he was telling the world, "You can't guard me, and you won't ever forget me." Now, the crossover of the ages. But here's where it gets truly hilarious. Harden, in a move that can only be described as the ultimate troll, decided to take his sweet time before sinking a three-pointer. He stretched out the agony for Johnson, who was probably contemplating his life choices while staring up at the ceiling. And the best part? The crowd's roar kept doubling every millisecond like they were watching a comedy show. It was as if they'd ordered extra large buckets of popcorn and were settling in for the entertainment of the century. Meanwhile, poor Johnson had no other option but to run back on defense with a big ol' smile on his face, like he'd just been pranked by the basketball gods. Now, over to you. Which ankle-breaking moment in NBA history left you speechless? Share your favorite ankle-breaking memory in the comments below. See you in the next video.